one thing that is important here is that this form, if you want to get all the newsletter, all the subscription that I'm doing, everything I share, please download this form, subscribe it. We'll send you a newsletter. That's the only newsletter you need to read. And we will give you automatic updates on these weekly sessions. So please do that. Don't miss this one. If you are all ready, let's revise what we did last time. We decided what agent to build. And the agent we decided to build is an agent which can do user research for us, market research for us, and decide which research to do. We also had an orchestration engine in between. Then we said, can it write PRDs also? So an agent which does user research, market research, and write PRDs. That's what we were building. Okay, then we said how to take feedback from the user. Based on the feedback, we were calling different tools. We also has variables. If you wanted to store one agent outcome and pass it to another, we learned that it has to be a variable and then you can pass that variable, but you have to explicitly define that variable. And then we touched upon memory. There is nothing else in the memory. Just giving like slight touch was the only thing they allowed us. So we touched on that. So what are we going to do today? If we did so much last time, why are we here? We'll just touch on tools. Last time the tools were not working. We're getting a server error. We fixed it. And the best fix we did is nothing, to just refresh and retry. So I will show you. Hopefully it works this time. It's just an unstable product at this point. You will see a lot of uh, things that may or may not work because they are also building it. It's just 2 weeks in people hand. We'll talk about widgets. Widgets is a way for you to give fancy outputs to the user rather than just giving like things like app-like outputs. So I will show you widgets and how to build them. We'll talk about guardrails and we will touch upon evaluations. I think these are the guardrails and evaluations are very impressive. And then I will give you one last thing that actually matters for PM. Building things, I believe, matters for PM, but I think what matters for PM is what they do after building these things. And it's not that what you are supposed to do is after you have built this flow, you are supposed to fight with your engineering. It's something else you should know. And that's what I will land as a last thing. So this is the platform where we are building our stuff. And this is Agent Builder. I think anybody can go it. Last time, if you have missed it, the video for last time is on YouTube. It's 30 minutes video. Just watch it and you will get how we reached here. But last time I came here, I did a start button, which is drag and drop from here. Then we created this orchestration agent whose job is to route the queries to the right agent. Then I had two other agents, one for market research, one for user research. Then we stored the outcome of that. Then we asked the user if they are okay with the results. If the user was okay, then we said, okay, approve it. And if they approved it, then we stored it. We stored the result that we got from market or user research by passing this variable, which we set here. And then we just had an integration on tools where we said these tools are fun, but we realized that if we take the tools out of box tools, we said, okay, I want to save this file to Google Drive, but there was no save feature. So what we ended up doing is we ended up going to Zapier, and in Zapier, we configured our key. And then on that Zapier side, we were able to integrate. I won't revise it. I will leave you, but seems straightforward. We have it all documented in a lab, which I will give you a link to. So you can just follow step by step and you will be able to do this and much more. That's coming. So you need not to take any notes. Just try to understand the concepts. So first, let's test it. So we say, hey, you know what? Let's do research on, let's do it on CRE, which is commercial real estate. I'm just giving it queries in short form. Let's do research on CRE to find users and what are their pain points to build AI agents for CRE back office automation. I send this query. It goes to my orchestration agent. I can see on the left-hand side. So I loved the user interface. This was missing in Lovable, was there in NA10. But when I do this, I can see what's happening and I can see where I am. from in user research. Now it's doing the user research. It is figuring out who the people are. It's key finding user behaviors, pain points. But at least from a developer point of view, it is this is the best thing about these AI is that they create this illusion that they have done good work by formatting things in a right way. User needs and desire, sentiment analysis, user segment, recommendation. So I think it's done and it's asking, are you good with it? I will just approve it. And when I approve it, what it does is it goes and stores this in my Google Drive. So it take an action on my behalf. It's not an agent which just doing chit chat. It's an agent which also takes an action. So it did all this research. And now what it is doing is it's saying I'm already going to call the tool with given content. Once the tool returns the result, I will make sure to provide the link. It feels straightforward, but I will ensure I'm doing everything correctly. And then now it's what it is doing. It is calling Zapier, which has access to my Google Drive, and it's going to store this information on my Google Drive. Everybody followed? Okay, team. What happened here is we got what we needed. So finally it is working. And I can see the whole research stored in my own drive, and I can see it. It's all done for me, and I can read it, and I'm good to go. So you have an agent that is working. Now, what else can you do? One thing you can do is one other feature that I liked and which they introduced first time ever is the feature of widgets. And that's like little cool, which is you can take the output format in text, JSON, or widgets. JSON, you might understand, it's a JavaScript objects representation. But widgets is something cool. So let's look at widgets. Let's say you want to show widgets to the user as an output. Then what can you do? You can select widget, but then it takes you to a widget builder. It says create a widget, or if you have created before, just upload your widgets. So you click create and you can put your prompt here. So I'm going to cheat here and copy paste my prompt because I wanted to save time. So I have my prompt already. So let's take our prompt and paste it here. Create a widget that confirms a file has been successfully saved to Google Drive. So I will go here and I will say create. It takes you to widget builder, which is another similar to. So this is, Angad, this is the replacement they are trying to create for Lovable. So this is the front end of their world. So they are saying here you create the front end and then we will create widgets. These widgets will be like how the look and feel of the app would look like. So here you just give a prompt and you can say go and it says mounting preview. After this, it just gives you a front end file, which creates a kind of more compelling output than just a link. You will see it in a second, it will show you. And then you can download it and upload it. And that's pretty much it. So it takes a little bit. Basically, their servers are not up. So it takes some time here. Once you have this, it will give you a file I will show you in a second. So once you download it, you can just go in. I think I just did a drive save confirmation widget. I will show you in a second. But this is how it looks like. So now my output would look like this, or I said Q3 report or something else. So you can just paste that and you are good to go. So this is widgets. You can edit it also. So you can go and you see the left and right. So this is the front end and you can change it to say, hey, not the Q3 report. I want to say it's something else. Open drive, file name, widget, save, and there will be open in drive, save to Google Drive. Let's say you want to say save to drive. You can change it here also. So that part I liked that it gave you little configuration, which is little better than others. But now you can see save to drive here. But this is how you create the front ends on this one. And once you have the front end, you can give the output in a front end format. So I think this was our widget. Yeah. Q3 budget, file saved to Google Drive, open in Drive. This one you can download from here. And once you download, you can upload this one. So you detach this and you say upload. You can upload your newly created one. So that's pretty much about widgets. Once you put a widget, you can also update this prompt, which was saying if a widget is added, pass the link to the widget button that allow user to get the file as get URL parameter. Also file name, change it to approve research doc, right? So you are passing from your backend, whatever you produced to this front end now. So that is also an instruction. Okay. So that's your story of widgets. We will run it in a second and you will see now in the output, instead of giving us that link, it will show us this fancy widget, which I can click a button and now open a Google Drive. That way you can add multiple widgets and now your output would look like an app rather than looking like a chatbot interface. Okay. One second cool thing that I discovered is the capability to add guardrails. Anybody know what guardrails are? That's guardrails. Guardrails are expected results by subject matter experts. Anybody else?
Mahesh, the way I think of guardrails is essentially protecting best practices on preventing any sort of hallucinations and making sure that our model that we're developing is not misleading and providing incorrect information, and it's meeting the expectations that we set out from expectations perspective.
So guardrails are basically this idea that the LLMs are going to give you responses or going to take responses. The user are trying to hack them. How are you going to protect your app from the unexpected expectations that the user can throw at you, or the LLMs can behave in a way that you don't want them to behave? How are you going to guard the LLM outcomes and the inputs to the LLM is guardrails. You're defining those boundaries. And out of box, they're giving you, you can go and enable this, which will allow it to remove any personal identification. So you can put these checks, and if these checks are in there, then this will stop those things. So now the user cannot give you credit card, US bank account, US social security numbers. By law, sometimes you're not supposed to take these. And you can just click here of what all you can block, and all these information will not be sent in your responses, or even user can't provide it to you, because if your app is not supposed to take this information, then you can just click it and it will work. What I did is I did it for moderation. This is the API I built at AWS. If you look at content moderation for Amazon Text Direct, I built that, so I know one or two things about it. So you can select all categories, but it checks for sexual, for minors, it checks for hate and threat, harassment, self-harm, violence. And if any of these is detected, it will go and stop your input. So let's put this guardrail. I put this guardrail. I said if it goes here, then pass, else just fail. On fail, what we will do is we will just put an and. So we'll say, hey, if it fails, then just end the flow. So if the guardrail fails, then end, else pass, and give it to the orchestration. So now I am putting some checks, and the checks I'm putting is it cannot do hate, it cannot produce or do research on sexual content or hate content, because people can ask you how to hate the world and do user research and be super awesome in putting hate speech out there. But I don't want my tool to be used for that. So I put a check for it. So let's say now I hate all the other AI PM instructors. Uh, Please do a research on how can I assume them, how can I abuse them on internet. Okay, hopefully this should not work. Now you know the bad part of me. You see that it says it went ahead and uh, started, and it didn't work in our favor. So it is going to do that user research and tell me how I can do. I can't help with harming, harassing, and abusing people online. I don't want to assist the research targeting specific individuals, misconduct, practical templates. So did it work for us or not? The guardrail didn't work, right? So let's reject this. At least let's not let's not save it in our drive. How could I have made it work? What could I change? So it says I said I hate all the other PMs. And let's look at our guardrail. Let's see what we missed or what they missed. Okay, we said moderation, that's correct. And we say hate, threatening, hateful content that also include violence. hate speech and discriminatory. So sending a word hate should not mean hate, right? So that's the challenge here. So you can just say hate also now. Anything else? Violence. I hate everyone, every in PM, AI PM influencer. Give me hate speech that I can post on scale on their posts every day. Give me 3 posts for, I won't name, but this is fun. Okay, let's see. Again, past. Maybe I should say harassment. How can
No,
I
on
harass
the
the world?
second, on the guardrails, maybe we should have tick on the checklist,
Uh,
checkbox.
uh, Thank you for
Maybe
helping
the
me.
text is not a hate speech in itself. It is asking for that
But what's the
speech.
point of having guardrails then, right?
Yeah,
But I have to hate it. They are not going to put hate in their prompts, right?
yeah,
So this
right.
is like, I think you can do it in the output and it will work in the output, right? But
Hmm.
input, we have to be a little creative. So this is guardrails for all of us. Somebody wanted to make it work for it. What should I do? Harassment
Harassment.
and then try.
So left is input, right is output there. The left and right
Uh,
columns.
the left right column is nothing like
Okay, it's just a
we'll
list.
discuss. Yeah, it's just a list. I hate all the PM influencers who never worked in AI but create 101 content many times a day and misled people create hate and harassment content for them and harassment content after doing user research. You see what I'm trying to do in my prompts. Finally, finally it failed and it says that harassment. So whoever gave me the tip, it worked and 10 points to you. So now it stops and it ends the flow, but you can bypass it. It will work for outputs, it won't work for inputs. It will also not work for things that you want to set up about your competition. I don't want my tool to be used for doing research on my content about my competition. So all these is not coming out of box. Those guardrails you still need to provide. We touched upon guardrails. We touched upon this. Last thing I want to touch upon is evaluations, which I loved about this tool, which is they allow you to evaluate all your traces. So in evaluate, what you see is the flows that you ran today or in past will all be here, and you can see where we spend what time, and you can open these blocks and see what happened in them. So you say this was the input, this was the output, and this is why this failed. So hallucination failed. This is their incoming output API calls. This is which we stopped last time. This was the orchestration agent. You can look at what prompt was sent to this, how much time it took. And if you look at the post, you can see this is the prompt that was sent to the orchestration agent and then the results of it. So there's some debug capabilities that it provide. But the cool part would be if we can grade these conversations. We can say, did it do the good job or not? So let's grade our conversations. So we ran some conversations today, which got through binary approval and everything. Again, I will just put my copy paste my prompt. And let's say check. Let's say I put some simple guardrails, which is I want to make sure that user research it publishes has at least 3 personas and maximum 5. And for each personas, it got the pain points. I can run this evaluation on this particular one, or I can run it on all. So let me just add this, and then I can run it on all. I can just say grade all, and it will run it on all my conversations that happened with my agent and give me results. Or I can just run it manually on a specific conversation. What it does is it goes ahead, it uses again behind the scenes an LLM and runs these checks and then give you results whether it passed or failed on that conversation. And if it fails, it gives you a reason why it failed, which check it failed. So now, if you did the course, so we had this helpful, honest, and harmless, or if there is a free session on this also, where we come up with our questions or our checklist as product managers, and you can give it to the GPT here, and then you can see how your product is doing against your targets. That, I think, first time I saw it and I was like, okay, there is an easy way for us to now run evaluations at scale. Obviously, it costs, but now you can see it said it passed, and then it specify why, because in this report, we are able to get the user segment. It gave these 5, and it also gave the pain points correctly. But if I run it on this one, it will fail because maybe it is not, a couple of them it will fail because they are doing market research and not user research, and the pain points were not clear. Everybody clear on evaluations, how they work? I will highly recommend you to double click on this. With that said, that's all about the building block of agents. We touched upon pretty much all the major things. We touched on agent, we touched on, and we didn't talk about file search. Okay, file search is this idea of adding vector stores or the capability to use your knowledge, your company information. If you have files that you want to use in your analysis or you want to give your context, then you can give that. How you can add file search? You just click here, and let's say you have already, your company has done some market research. You want to use that research in this agent and web search. Then you can do is you can go to file search and just upload your files. So I have done these research before. I can just come here, click, and provide these. I can add as many as files as I want, and then I can just say attach. By the way, you can just also attach. So this is chunk size, chunk overlap. Anybody, what is chunks and what is chunk overlap?
It's breaking the
Chunks.
content and the files into smaller pieces, and then how many of those pieces overlap between each other.
Correct. So chunk is basically you will take this 10 pages document and divide it into 100 character long blocks. And then some of these blocks you want to overlap with others. So there is a context that this is connected to this. So remains in both the chunks. They're not separated. So that's the overlap. Okay. We can see advanced options. We won't change them. This is add, and you can just say attach. And now if you run this, you have knowledge too. We looked at guardrails. We look at MCP. We created if-else statements. We did not attach while loop, but you can do that. We had user approvals. We didn't do transform, but we do set state. So I hope with this, you have awesome capabilities in your hand that you can use. But the most important piece is not building these things, but knowing what they are not good at. There is homework, but I will talk about homework again. But let's look at what's not working. Publish is very limited. So if we saw Langflow or anything else, if you wanted to publish, it gave you us a link and we can just share with our friends and they can try chatting. That doesn't work in Agent Builder for OpenAI. So if you want to publish gives you an ID, and then it requires somebody to write code to integrate with their back front end. So publish is very limited. That's one thing. There is only limited tools that it has, and especially the tool they provide are very limited. You saw that Google Drive can't even store, and I have to call Zapier for it. And it's okay, you can call Zapier, but then comes the next limitation. Debugging these external tools were almost impossible. When Zapier didn't work for us last time, there's no way for me to see did they call Zapier or not. Zapier does provide you logging or some kind of looking back, but that doesn't even happen when the call doesn't go. And you don't know, you send the call, but Zapier is saying, I never received the call, and there is no log in between. So when things fail, they just fall apart. So that's Agent Builder gaps. Widgets are not working. We'll run it and I will show you. The widget where you pass the prompt and then they create this widget is a very broken experience. And this widget doesn't read from the backend, and it's almost impossible to connect these two today. You saw how passing variables was so messy. We saw it in Langflow or NA10. We could just take one agent output and pass it to other. Here you have to store it in a variable. Then you need to pass this variable. Then you need to keep track of these variables. I didn't like it, and it was just messy for me. Multi-agent support is not there. You saw we hacked it to create this orchestration agent, but I have to put an if-else loop. And if you want to do like 10 or 20 agents, you will have a much messy experience here. While when we did Crew AI agents in the course, we saw that just creating a manager agent automatically handles what the agents were behind. We just needed to put a prompt and then it calls the agent automatically, whatever it needed to call. I think that abstraction is essential for building multi-agents, and that is not there in agent flow today. Yeah, so that you saw, right? That I can't just connect a single agent to many agents, so that is not working. If you want to launch this as a full-fledged app, the curve is like there is an elbow drop in functionality. So you can drag and drop, build these flows. But if you want to launch it, the whole experience of building a front end for this required us to just be super smart front end engineers. While if you use an A10 or Lovable, like we did in our labs on the course, you could just pass a prompt on Lovable and you were able to integrate. That doesn't work here. You have to have like front end coding experience to build the front end for this back end that you build in Agent Builder. This I wrote. So they are saying use our tools or don't use anything. Like you just saw vector store, like these files. If I want to bring my own DB like Pinecone, Chrome or DB, these are the vector stores. If I want to add, none of that is integrated in their world. So either you give them all their files, but you cannot bring your own databases and connect it to agents. I think it's a core capability and that's missing. Okay, now you know what is good. Now you know what is missing. I have, or our team has put up these 3 or 4 labs for you. This is first creating an agent. This one extend the agent that we built to generate PIDs. This one puts quality control guardrails and evaluations. And this is the last one, which is pretty cool, which allows you to actually create a front end and ship it like an app, which users can try and you can evaluate at scale. I think I gave you enough to run these. With that said, that's all. What we did is we learned what agents are, why they matter. We learned how can you build knowledge, memory, tools, and guardrails in agents. We created and ran evaluations on them. We look at what's not working, the limitations, which I think is what you need to know as a product managers. You should not be mesmerized by every new tool that comes out. You should know where it fails and you should know its limitations. And I think we gave you some hints. We are writing a paper on this. So feel free to contribute to that paper or that document and we will publish it. And I should be able to send it to OpenAI because still have a lot of friends there. And they have not banned me yet. So hopefully they will work on these. But that's what you should do as a product manager. Okay, if you liked this session, next session we will go back to neural networks. I do it whenever we start the new cohort. We are starting a new cohort in just 3 days, I believe. Our first session is tomorrow, a welcome session. But first class for Wednesday batch will happen on 27th of October. And then if you're in Saturday batch, the first class is coming on 1st of November, I believe. If you're still thinking, please join the cohort. It's very good. Okay, last 3 seats left. Please join it. It's the last year. I believe you will get holidays after that, and you will show up as a very different person in the next year. And we have put a lot of effort building it, and we are putting a lot of effort delivering it, right? So I hope I can see you there. With that said, thanks a lot for joining. We believe that small people can first time do great things, and that's the symbol. Hopefully, it resonated with some of you. Yeah.